you're doing that to a complete stranger, and you got to do that in X amount of characters.
Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Daniel Nguyen coming at you from the Local Domination Show. I have a personal trainer who catered to a very niche market. He specialized in something that just a big retail gym don't have an offer. So it's Chris. Chris, can you introduce yourself and and what you do?
Hey, thanks, Daniel. It's really nice to be here, and I appreciate you asking me to come on today. My name is Chris Yarraton, and I'm a personal trainer. My company is Strength First Fitness, and I love working with my clients and seeing them get to their goals and live just a healthier life. So that's what I'm here to do every single day, help people out.
How did you get, your first client when you're first starting out? Because I know like personal trainer, you go through a program, you get certifications, but to get your clients, you're pretty much on your own.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where I got my certification, I sat down, I built my business plan out, and I created the business. And then I honestly sat there for 3 months with no clients. And it was a little scary at that point. But what I started doing was I just started talking to people and being enthusiastic and trying to share my knowledge that I had gained, not only from getting certified, but from my lifetime before that of being an athlete and being surrounded by all of this, nutrition and health and wellness and strength and cardio and all of that ways to be a stronger person. I just went and I started sharing it with people, and I started asking them who they knew that would benefit from working with me. And the very first time I got the first call where someone wanted to work with me, I was so nervous to show up. And I always pride myself on having a personal connection with people. So I like to sit down with them face to face, go grab a coffee or lunch or whatever, and really meet them. So I was sweating bullets in my car on the way there to go meet with my first person. So, but I did it out of just being consistent and asking people. That's how I got my first client.
I mean, it's like getting to your first interview ever, right? You know, your
Yeah,
first job interview, you're just sweating bullets, nervous. But you get used to it, after first client, and then second and third, and then 10 and so on. It
yeah,
becomes, I would say, natural at it, right? Now it's just a process. So,
yeah.
how did you retain your client? Because I know you have a very good retention rate, and your client typically stay with you for a long time, more than a year. So, what
Mhm.
is your secret when it comes to retaining your client?
So there's kind of three things that I believe really helps promote client retention. Number one is connection. If they don't connect with you, no, it doesn't matter how good you are, they're not going to want to stay with you. They want to know that you care about them more than just showing up to help them work out and get stronger. They want to have a good relationship with you where they can text you and ask you questions. Maybe you go see them if they're, they play an instrument and they're playing a show and you go to their show. They want to feel support in their life because this is about their life. This isn't just about them getting stronger or healthier. It's about them having a better life surrounding that. It helps them be more confident and do cool things. So part of what I do is promote growth outside of just working out. And then I support them in that and I show them that I care. So connection is the first thing. The second thing is going to be making sure that you have a plan and you are constantly working on improving that plan. So periodization and knowing how to structure the workout so that they're constantly seeing improvement and having ways for them to measure that. They need to see it on multiple aspects. If they just want to see the weight go down, so the scale drop, but they're putting on muscle, the scale might go up. But if they're also measuring different things, like they're measuring their body and they're seeing that the numbers are changing there, they're going to be happier because they're going to know that something's changing. People will leave if they see stagnation. And then the third thing is going to be that you want them to feel ownership over this process too. So I'm constantly asking them every single time I see them. I say, hey, is there anything that we're missing? Anything we could be doing better? Anything you want to do more of? Because if they can add to it and they can feel like they can come to you and say, hey, you know what, I really like that we're working on this, but I feel like we're not doing this. They're not going to start to hold a grudge against you. They're going to feel like they can ask you. And when you make that change, now they have ownership. And when they have ownership, they have buy-in. When they have buy-in, they stay around.
So how do you make sure your client are, you're holding them accountable? Because not, the one session they have with you that week doesn't mean that they're gonna, get the results. So how do you keep them accountable?
Yeah, it's all about, like I said, communication with them, texting. I have multiple resources that I send out to them where they can, start tracking their food. And then when we see each other, we go over it. Or if they're wanting to exercise outside of it, it's all follow-up questions. Like I have a little planner that I send to them and they can take a picture and they can send it to me. If I'm out of town or they're out of town and they want to do a solo workout, they send me pictures that they completed it, like either them sweating or they send me a picture of all the check marks that they did next to all their workouts. So it's just communication and knowing what they want to do. And then it's my job to check in that they actually did it and ask them, hey, how did your workout go today? I also have, like, if they have an Apple Watch, have them add me so that when they work out, I can hit the like tap back thing and send a little response like, hey, good workout or whatever it is. That way they can see that I'm seeing it too.
That's really cool. You really staying on top of your client. So what is your biggest takeaway in growing your business in the past, 5 years?
It's all about commitment and enthusiasm. So commitment to sticking through it thick and thin. Obviously, I haven't had perfect retention. Like everyone has people that naturally you're going to have natural attrition. Some people are going to move, right? I had some people that moved to Florida. Well, I could train them virtually, but they prefer the personal, like actual person right there with them. So unfortunately, that wasn't going to be a fit for me anymore. And that's okay. But if every time I lost a client was like, oh, I'm never going to get another client, that that confidence and that commitment to myself and my business, that isn't going to drive success. So you have to be committed to stick through it. The first couple of years are the hardest. The first years you feel like you're maybe not growing fast enough, but success grows success. And if you keep pushing it and you keep loving what you're doing and you keep being excited and enthusiastic, you're going to continue to grow because people follow enthusiasm. People follow people that are confident about where they're going. And so it's all about just staying on top of that. And then the other thing to keep my business growing for the 5 years is just I have to be excited about it. If I'm not excited about it, how can anybody else be excited about it?
That's very true in my business as well. I'm actually always excited when I come to work, and my employees always wondering like, what is up with this guy? Why is he always pumped to go to work? I was like, well, I love this thing, aren't you loving this thing? This is awesome.
Yep.
So what is your I would say key secret when it comes to like differentiate yourself among the other competitions in I think in your town, in this case in Oceanside, right? It's where you're from. So how do you stand out and and becoming and your clients come to you, not other people?
So my biggest thing that differentiates me is my commitment to my clients to have a personal relationship with them. Sorry. I want to be not necessarily, I wouldn't call it, it's a professional relationship, but we're professional friends, if that makes sense. Where I will support them. I will go and watch them play the guitar. I'll go and I'll attend their son or daughter's birthday. I will, support them in whatever they're doing, and me showing up and being involved in their life shows them that I want to see them succeed as well. And I think that's the difference. Like if you go to 24-hour fitness, or you go to LA Fitness, or you go to whatever fitness studio that's out there, a lot of the time the trainers show up, they train you, they do a good job, and then that's it. But because this is my business, I get to I get to do whatever I want. I can say, "Hey, let's go and work out." Like they want to work out on the beach, we go work out on the beach. And then after that, they go surfing and I go surfing with them. Why not? Right? Like that level of professional friendship, I believe goes a long way and is what makes me different. Plus, you can't beat working out of the beach.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. I think like that's a whole new level of developing client relationship. You're
Yeah.
very involved with them, and it's not about like reps. It's not about like, how many clients am I going to get this month? It's like how many client is a good fit in my business, and you have to enjoy working with them as well.
Yeah.
If they're not a good fit, then you probably just tell them. I'm sure you have told people, I don't think it's a good fit. I
Hmm.
don't think I can offer my services to get what you want because you want a totally different, you know, outcome or different perspective of working out. So how do you like pick out your client? Because you have a very certain niche client you work with. So how do you like pick out those client and and convert them into your long-term client?
So I believe that the way that you start a relationship is the way that it's going to give you a clue of how that relationship is going to end up being. And so I always start off by sitting down face to face with someone. If someone won't take the time to sit down and meet me face to face, I'm not kidding you here. I've had clients that have refused to sit down and do like even a Zoom face to face meeting, and every time that's happened, the relationship has gone wonky somewhere. And it's always been like a weird, there's just this like almost an unreasonable animosity under there for some reason, where it started like that. It wasn't like either of us did anything. There was just something that wasn't quite there. And that connection obviously became, you know, poignant at the beginning. So I've now learned from my experiences that that first meeting, sitting down, getting face to face, and just talking about goals and personalities and expectations is truly what allows me to then gauge whether or not we're going to be a good fit, and to be comfortable saying, hey, look, I really want you to be successful. That might not be with me. You might need a different type of trainer if you want to get to your goals, because I'm feeling like something's not right here.
I see. Like, I think the initial client interactions and just kind of feeling the vibe,
Yeah.
it's really crucial because personal training is very personal.
Yeah.
That's why it's called personal training, right? So yeah, that's very cool that you're actually doing that. I think there's very few businesses really spend the time in learning what their client really need.
Yeah.
It's always about sales and numbers. So what is like, do you have a client story that when you look back, like you've seen tremendous transformations and you feel very proud of?
Yeah, there's one client that I love, all my clients by the way, and they all have seen great transformation, but one of my clients that sticks out the most, I still train him. But I said to him maybe a few months ago, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, you know what? I just want you to know that when we first started working together, not only was he still trying to figure out his path in life, like what he wanted to do as his career and things like that, but he also like he's like way more filled out. He looks a lot more, in shape and stronger, and he has a more upright positioning. Like he's got very good posture now. All those little things came into play. But I looked at him and said, when we first started, I said, no offense when I say this, but X name, it was kind of like the boy. And now I look at you and I see the man. And I don't mean that in any negative way. He developed his entire life. And I know that it wasn't just me. He did a lot of work on himself. But part of what I did was help him gain the confidence to make that transition. The way he looks, the way he acts, the way he holds himself, and the way he tackles life. He's a way different person. He developed in every single area. And that was really cool to watch.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually really, really cool because
Yeah.
um, as growing up, becoming an adult, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of life challenges. Whenever we feel like, yeah, I got this down, life's kind of smack you around a little bit.
Yeah.
Just like a workout, right? Just like a workout, there's no such thing as an easy workout. It's always difficulty that you can increase,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's like how life is pretty much. There's always like things coming out of nowhere and just challenge you. But I think like the main thing is confident people. Like the confidence is very difficult to develop, and just having that from working out, from feeling good about yourself, I think it's like the foundation of like being successful in life, right?
Yeah. It is.
What is when it comes to like growing your business, strength and fitness, what is like the biggest frustration when it comes to like marketing and getting more new clients and new, I would say, customer to train?
Yeah. The biggest frustration. So the way that I do it is mainly by referral, but the frustration would come in from breaking through the noise if you try to do it any other way, right? If you're, Facebook ads or Google ads, or if you're doing any sort of other way that you're trying to gain more clients, the frustration occurs in how do you portray that, how you are, right? Because if you're getting a person coming to you from a referral, your person's already told them about you. They already know who you are, kind of like what makes you different. But now, if you're doing that to a complete stranger, you got to do that, and you got to do that in X amount of characters, right? Before they stop reading. And the frustration comes into how do you put all of that text down? How do you make the copy that's going to impact them enough to say, hey, I want to reach out to that person? So frustration would be finding the right words, honestly.
Actually, it's very, very true. Like the way we run the business day to day in person, and the way that the internet, the social media, or even the Google platform or Facebook view us is is very different. It's very difficult to relate and to showcase that because, like you said, it's very difficult to write a paragraph of describing what you do in a way that attracts the right client. It's really, really difficult. And it takes a lot of practice to recording yourself. And I know it sounds really weird, but yes, you have to be on the video talking about who you are and who you serve, because that's how, everybody watch, and the right people will get attracted to it.
Yep.
Your video or your email copy or your message does two things. One, it attracts the right audience. The number two is it repel the people that you don't want
Yeah.
as a client. So making, I always do is I always make the videos like a VSL, video sales letter, explaining what I do, who I serve, exactly who I serve. And if that's you, send me a message. Here's my phone number. Text me, and maybe we'll chat and see where it takes us. Right? It's pretty simple, as simple as that. But like you said, marketing nowadays are very, very tricky. I couldn't. I think Facebook ad has a weird thing to it. I run Facebook ad all the time. but the people coming from the Facebook lead, I'm sure you ran Facebook
Hmm.
lead, are quite a
Yeah.
little weird. they're,
You can
they're
get some
very,
characters for sure.
oh, there's very, out of 100 leads, maybe one will stick out, right? But then again, you have to be, I think the best, like you said, the best way of getting client is from a referral. Actually, that is the highest return on investment is the referral. If you ask your current client to see, hey, are there anyone else that you can refer is to me that would benefit the service I do, I would be very appreciated. And I actually do that a lot to every client I serve, and I'm sure that's how you kind of maintain and keep getting new clients that is highly attracted to you because they are in the same network, like
Hmm.
likable people. Um,
Yep.
so as we're wrapping up the interview, what is the top three, podcasts or books that you read that can help other entrepreneurs kind of level up their game in this world?
Yeah. So I'll do two books and a podcast. The first book that I would throw out there is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Great book just on like background of the business and the ins and outs of business and how to continue to grow your business. So Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. The second book is The Wealthy Gardener, but that's by John Saforic. It's a really, really great book. It's a parable mixed with um almost like a biographical story, and then kind of wrapped up into lessons as well. Really impactful, super easy to read, but really, really powerful. So that's just kind of like a life and business book, I would call it, where it can help you take your life and your business to the next level. And then I like the James Wedmore Mind Your Business podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that's a really cool podcast too.
I haven't heard of it, but I will look on the podcast and
Yeah.
and check him out. Um, and thank you for sharing that, Chris. I love reading books, and I always have a list of books I'm reading through every single day, and I'm just trying to get through. So thank you for coming on the show today, sharing what's working well for you. And I did pick up a few things about just personal connections with the client, and that's really cool, man. Like, that's so cool, and it's so important, because there are times that I wonder in my business, as I close the business, I go home and I'm thinking, like, how do I keep growing my business like without spending money on ad, because I don't,
Hmm.
that's a certain thing with the ad, but how do I retain my clients so they're not becoming unhappy, because they have to be happy, right? If there is something I can do better, I want to know. Right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's really cool. Thank you for that. And you can check out other episodes, and then we'll see you next time.